Hey Manny, how are you?
I'm pretty good. How about you, Sergio?
I'm doing good, man. We're hanging in there, as you know, with the January slowdown, but
Yeah,
I think it's slow for everybody. Hopefully, it'll get better. So
yeah.
Manny has participated in our town hall meeting on Show Me the Money Club a few months ago, and all the participants were amazing. But then there are these special drivers and human beings that make us, an impression on you, and then so I decided to do articles on all these drivers, and Manny happens to be one of them. And Manny is the I named him the king of the Windy City. Just because,
Thanks, Sergio.
yeah,
Yeah,
man. I'm telling you, your numbers are just absolutely phenomenal, right? But it doesn't come free. You hustle,
yeah,
you
yeah,
work your butt off, right? Because a
yeah.
lot of drivers these days, they just want to not do much and then make the money, and then when they don't make the money they complain. So let's go back to the beginning, right? And what you did before you started with Uber and Lyft, and how you fell into the gig economy. So floor is yours. Introduce yourself and then let's start there.
Perfect, Sergio. Thanks for inviting me. I'm really excited. But I actually worked in a warehouse for many years, and I kind of needed to make some extra money. So a friend told me about Uber. I didn't know what it was, so I started doing part time. I still remember my first rider like it was yesterday. I was so nervous. I had strangers in my car. And I did it part time for about on and off for 2 years. There were months that I didn't do it for whatever reason I remember. And then my job, they let me go. So I kind of felt it was April 2017. So I kind of felt like, you know what? Let me go do Uber and Lyft full time, and while I'm looking for a job. Never intended to be my full time job. And my first week, even my first week when I didn't know what I was doing, no strategy, I was straight economy, and I made like 1250 my first week, and I was thinking like, well, that's better than my other job, and I stuck with it.
Yeah.
And fast forward, almost 6 years later, I'm still doing it.
How
So
many how
it
many
wasn't
trips? How many trips have you done so far?
with both platforms. I want to say close to 30,000. I don't. I more. I mean, if you want me to look, I could look right now,
No,
but
no, no.
it's
Just
yeah,
just that you're a veteran, right? So
yeah,
you
yeah. Over 20 between 25 and 30,000 trips with both apps. I know that.
yeah. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about, you're starting, obviously you're making 1250 a week, but then you were never satisfied with that.
Mm.
You figured it out. You tried to improve, and you even changed your car and went to a higher platform, and so tell us a little bit about that. How you came up with that strategy.
Yeah, because I had a GMC Terrain. It was a four-cylinder, but it was not. It was just straight up economy and live economy. So I kind of made a decision that if I'm gonna do full time, I want the best possible car for my money. I did my research and I looked and I found the Lincoln MKZ hybrid because this hybrid is good on gas. It was literally having that payment like month to month as a bills. It's not gonna really increase my bills because the gas saving between a gas guzzler and a hybrid was gonna pay the car itself. Plus, my revenue was gonna go up because it put me on Lyft Lux and back then Uber Select. So I was thinking I'm gonna make more money, and I did, and it was good. I bought that car in September of 2017. I bought that car or 2018, September 2018. So I was driving full time for over a year and a half once I made that decision. So kind of
And
did
how did
that.
that turn out for you? I mean,
Even
in the article I put up some of your earnings, right?
yeah,
And I mean, short of nothing short of phenomenal. That's why I called you the king of the Windy City, because
yeah.
I don't think anybody can match those numbers, especially nowadays. But even then, tell me a little bit about your strategies in Chicago, right? Because I know you don't live in the city, you don't live in the hot zone,
No,
so you have to do
no.
certain things to get into the hot zone. How did you figure this all out? Did you have other drivers you talked to, or did you watch the
Mhm.
rideshare guy, or how did you do it?
Well, I watched a little bit of Rideshare Guy, but really, I it was plugging into Facebook groups, and we had a group chat of another driver that started around the same time me. So he made a group chat. There were like about 50 drivers, and we were kind of all strategized and trying to figure this out. I live about 40 miles north of downtown Chicago, but our airport O'Hare is like 30 miles, kind of in between the city and where I live. So every morning, my game plan is to get up in the morning and try to get somebody from near my house that's going to the airport because I'm going there anyway, so I might as well get paid. So, and just do that every morning. If it's not schedule rides, like now we have schedule rides, I always look for schedule rides. Like today, I had a 4 a.m. schedule ride from near my house for $40. So you look for schedule rides, or you use your filter in the morning with both apps, Uber and Lyft, and try to get a ride in the morning and get into the city and then and just work the whole day.
Yeah. So what are your hours? I mean, a lot of people say, oh yeah, he has no life and he has not this and that. In this day and age, all we hear is about complaining, right? But
Yeah,
somehow,
yeah,
somehow everybody complains, but everybody keeps driving, right? So I'm going like,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
if it's this bad, just go get a W-2, I mean, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
so
yeah,
to me is no hustle, no money. That's what it is. You
yeah,
gotta put
yeah.
the hours in. So tell me a little bit about your regular day. Like today, let's say. Did you drive a
Today,
full shift today?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
I picked up my first rider at 3:50 in the morning. It was at 4 a.m. But with Uber, you got to be online 40 minutes prior
Yeah.
the schedule, right? So I woke up like at 3:10 in the morning, turned the app on, take a shower, get ready, and I got the request. And I messaged them, hey, my ETA is 3:50. You're ready to go a little early? We can leave. He said, yeah, come by. So I got there 3:50, picked them up. But usually my schedule is like 4 in the morning to like 2 p.m. That's pretty much schedule.
Yeah. But you do have a
Yeah.
family, right? You have
Yeah,
kids,
of course. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so
So yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So I try to be home. I still try to at least go to the gym a little bit, kind of keep up with myself, and get home and have dinner with my family. So people say, "Oh, I don't have a life," but I get home earlier than most people get home. I get home if I don't go to the gym, I'll be home by 3:30 before
Right.
my kids get from school, and I could be here if my daughter has some sort of activity in school, I could be there because I'm willing to get up early because I have a goal that I try to make every week. So the only way I can do that is by waking up early. Does it suck getting up early? Yeah, but there's no other way because if you don't get up early in rideshare, you're not gonna make any money.
Yeah, I agree. So the other thing that I wanted to talk to you about is um, you know, obviously you're a veteran, right? So
Yeah,
over the years, you have improved your game, I'm sure, right? Because we all
yeah,
start not knowing anything because Uber and Lyft don't educate any of the drivers. They just want you to get out there and drive, right?
yeah.
So
Of
how did
course.
you manage that other than the Facebook group? Is it mostly trial and error, or how did you figure all that out?
Yeah, I mean, just talking to people that I talked to a friend that drove for Uber for many years, just like me. He has a Tesla Model 3, and we talk every day, and we like, what are we doing? What's the filter? Our filter strategy. We call it just really controlling the app. Like the app doesn't control me, I control the app, so I go wherever I want to go. So the main thing is strategizing, having a schedule, staying committed, and work your hours. Like right now it's really slow, but I mean, there's nothing we can do about it. There's literally, if I'm not doing really good right now, nobody's doing really good.
Yeah.
All you can do is just, it sucks. I know it sucks for everybody, but I tell my friends, hey, well, go get a job or else just control what you control and control your schedule, put in your hours, and just hope for the best.
Yeah, I mean, there are certain things you can control. You cannot create demand out of the blue, right? And then
No,
how's Chicago? Because on Show Me the Money, we mentioned it quite a bit that a lot of markets are oversaturated, meaning
oh
there are
yeah,
way too many drivers. Do you feel like Chicago is one of those cities?
yeah. I really feel it's super saturated. I mean, right now the inflation, everybody's trying to make an extra money now. I understand that, because Uber doesn't care that it could be 10,000 drivers or 100,000 drivers online. It doesn't matter to them. So the whole country is super saturated. But I mean, but all we can do is just still get up early and pick up those airport rides and just try your best. And if somebody feels that they work 50, 60, 70 hours a week and it's not worth it, then they got to go to look for a job. It is
Yeah.
what it is.
So with you, I know you put in the hours, right?
Yeah.
And anybody is welcome to go to the blog and read the article, obviously, and see your numbers. So
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you because, I'm interviewing a lot of drivers in a lot of different cities, and we all have this upfront fares now. And the
Yeah.
advantage of it is obviously seeing the destination upfront as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what is your opinion of after you had it probably for what now, 3 months or so, or 4 months, whatever we had?
Something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So comparing to before, what do you see the differences in? I mean, is it making you more money? Is it making you, less money or easier decisions as far as because you know where the passenger is going? How does it look to you after the first 3, 4 months of upfront fares?
Well, definitely. I've noticed that on longer trips they pay quite a bit less. On shorter trips, you don't really feel it too much. Um, when it's slow, and then you see an airport trip that maybe 6 months ago where there's no surge. It used to be $20 or $22. Now the same fare with no surge is $15. So definitely we are getting paid. We are getting nickel and dime. We are getting paid less. Now that's a con. The pro is that now I know where they're going. So I never end up in an area that I don't want to be in. Make it awkward, like, oh, I don't want to go there. So there's pros and cons. I mean, overall, overall it's good, but I mean, we're just making a little bit less money.
Yeah.
So
So you
it's
said
a yeah.
it's the winter slowdown or the seasonal slowdown.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you've been around for a while. We had this also, maybe not in Chicago, but in LA, Los Angeles, we had this same situation, way oversaturated markets, a lot of drivers in 2019, right? But then, everything takes care of itself. So, compared to when I wrote the article, maybe, I don't know, 4 months ago, 3 months ago, how are your earnings trending? Are they a lot lower or 20% lower? How's that going?
They're at least like 30% lower.
Okay.
Yeah, because the only week that I worked 70 hours this year and I made 2150. That was 7 days, 70 hours for the week. That if I would have worked the same hours 4 months ago, it would have been 3,000.
Why do you think that is?
So there's no surge.
Yeah.
We I make my money really on those search rides in the morning
Yeah.
or the surge and bigger quests. Bigger quests, I don't really bank on quests. I don't go for the 100 ride quest. But when I need to do a 40 ride quest and make $100, and now the 40 ride quest you're making $30, well, it's a big difference when you add that in the weekend and weekend. Definitely, because in Chicago, when you're on higher platform, when Lyft gets really busy, like say Blood Pink, Lux coming like crazy.
Yeah.
Lux. So now I'm getting less Lux requests because on Lyft, whenever it gets really busy, just check this out in the app. Whenever it gets really busy, taking a Lux ride is cheaper than taking an economy ride. I don't know why, but it does. So when that happens, I get flooded with good Luxes to the airport or longer trips, or even Lyft Lux Black. When it gets really busy, I get a Lyft Lux Black to the airport. It's like $60, $65.
Yeah.
When it's slow, you don't get that anymore.
Yeah.
So there's a huge difference. The main thing I've seen in my difference in my earnings is my trip per average.
Yeah.
When I was hitting 3K, I was doing about, let's say, almost $30 trip per average. Now, there's some weeks I'm doing like 18, $20 per average. So it's a big difference. It's almost $10 per trip less
Well, that's
because
the
of the surge.
30%. That's the
Yeah,
30%. Yeah.
exactly. That's the surge that I'm missing now. And then the smaller quest. So you add all that up, and then with the upfront pricing, they're squeezing up a little bit more. So you add that plus oversaturated, plus the January slowdown. You add all those combined, and boom, you lose
Yeah.
30% of your income.
Yeah. But,
Yeah.
again, even, when you say 70 hours, I make, you gross, $2,000, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Would you ever think of going back to W-2, or
I would no.
do you still like the flexibility and the freedom that rideshare gives you?
Well, the thing about it is that I don't have a college degree and I really don't have an education. So if I go to a regular, if I go to a job right now, they're gonna pay me like $20 an hour
Yeah.
where I live. Okay, so if I do those numbers, it's like I would have to work three jobs to make what I make on Uber right now. So that wouldn't make no sense. So I wouldn't go. I'm not in that level. Like say if I work 70 hours and I make let's say 1,100 or 1,300 a week, then I'll consider go getting a job. Because then you're adding wear and tear in your car, you're adding all the stuff that is not worth it. But with me, I'm still making about $25 an hour gross, I think 25, 26. So it's not as good as it used to be, not as good as 30 something, but it's still better than the job, and it's still giving me the flexibility. And if I want to do something else, I like start a business or do something else, I can still do it with Uber, have the flexibility.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you next, because a lot of,
Yeah.
drivers who have been doing this for a long time are feeling what you're feeling, right?
Yes.
Especially full-time drivers. I think full-time drivers are getting hurt the worst,
Yeah.
in the slowdown, because your
Mhm.
hours are your hours. You're out there, and
Mhm.
part-timers are doing okay because they can pick and choose maybe 5, 8, 10 hours a week and drive at the best times, right? But since
Mhm.
you're out there 70 hours in the same hours, do you ever think of changing your shift, like maybe a few days a week, maybe, or on the weekends, do the night shift versus the morning shift? Do you ever think of that?
No,
No?
I would never consider doing night shift because I like being home. I'm married, and I like to be with my wife every night.
Yeah.
So I don't unless I have to, like. But I much prefer waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning than getting home at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I mean, I honestly I tried the overnight shift for 1 week many years ago, and I hated it. I just tried to see if I can make more money, but it was like, no, it's not
Yeah.
for me.
So, last few minutes, tell me a little bit about, like, you just hinted on that. You're
Mm-hmm.
still young, obviously. Do you have any plan Bs? Are you using these gig apps to do different things, start a business,
Yeah.
whatever it is? What are you doing in that front?
Well, even last year, I don't know, I have my life insurance license, so I really like life insurance, definitely for seniors, and is really valuable for especially the Hispanic market. Somebody passed away, they leave something behind. So last year I did it for about 2 to 3 weeks. Kind of got my butt kicked really in the beginning, and I didn't take it really seriously. And I was making really good money with Uber in those times. I was doing 3,000 a week, so I felt like, hey, I'm doing good. Now the summer slowdown kicked in. I kind of realized, you know what? Maybe I gotta do something different. So I kind of restarted again, and I'm doing that. This is my second week of doing that. I kind of cut my hours a little bit in Uber, went from 70 hours to 50 hours, and committing 20 hours to that business. That's what I'm doing right now because I kind of feel like I gotta take this opportunity to kind of feel Uber is not forever. I could get sick, I could get deactivated. I gotta think about what's plan B. I gotta think about what I want to be doing in 5 years, and the way Uber looks, it doesn't look very promising. So if I have a shot to do something different, I definitely gotta take advantage.
Yeah, I actually give you all the credit for seeing that. And maybe, this slowdown is a
Mhm.
blessing in disguise, right? Because it's
Yeah,
forcing
yeah,
you to do something else. And because
of
when the
course.
money is good with Uber, it's really good, man. Right?
Yeah,
For what
yeah,
we're
yeah.
doing, I mean, for what we're doing, it's really good. But when it's bad, it's really bad. And right now,
No, I
it's
yeah,
bad.
yeah. I know because the way I see things is like I'm gonna work around my schedules to set up my appointments and just make enough money to keep up with my expenses. And that's kind of like, okay, Uber's paying my bills, paying my rent, paying everything, and let me do the business on the side and build it up. So really, my ultimate goal is by the end of this year to kind of trend more like 50-50, and then eventually 30% Uber, and eventually with time be 0% Uber and 100% my business. But it's gonna take time. I'm not in. It doesn't happen overnight. But it's when I was making like 3,000, 3,500 a week. It's like the money was so good. Like 2 years ago, I mean the best week I ever had was 3,700 one week, and I was like, when you're making that kind of money, when you're making about $500 a day, search was crazy. It's hard to let it go because it's easy. It's really not a hard job. It's
Yeah.
super. It's like the easiest job ever. When you're making $400 a day, $500 a day, it's like, where am I going? I'm not
Yeah.
going nowhere. It's easy.
Yeah.
It's comfortable. But the summer slowdown, I was kind of seeing that and like, what would happen if I were to like get deactivated, something like that happens, or you never know. I could get a car accident,
Yeah.
I could injure my back. I mean, so many things cross your mind when it's slow down. You have a lot of downtime. You think about it, like what I want to do in 5 years. And do I want to be doing this? I mean, it's okay, but there's no security. There's no growth. I mean, you can't. I cannot make 1 year 100,000. The next year I want to make 125 or 150. There's no. You can't really make more. I mean, you can't work more hours. I work 7 hours a week. How much more can I work?
Yeah, no, I
So,
give you all the credit on that because I think that's what we said that few times on Show Me the Money Club is that figure out your cost. And if you're not
mhm.
making money, I mean, it's easy to figure it out.
Oh yeah,
This may be a perfect time to look into doing something else. And I'm glad you're looking into it and you're
yeah,
allocating some hours to do, your life insurance business. And
yeah,
I think that's why the gig economy is good for, right? Because
yeah,
it's not all bad. Look, there's bad ways about it. I mean, nobody's going to deny that. But
yeah,
there's also good things like, drivers like yourself, all the other drivers that I've written and talked to, they say they always have a plan B. They're using this as a stepping stone, and I'm glad that you're looking into it. And I'll give you last couple of minutes. Tell us what you would advise a new driver getting into it today, and tell us a little bit about why you keep doing it and how much longer you're going to keep doing it.
yeah. Well, if there was a brand new person that started driving, I would try to go on a Facebook group. No, not really Facebook group. They're all negative, but meet somebody or go to a lot and talk to somebody that been there a while. Could teach you the trick. Lucky me, I connected with somebody that had a lot of experience and kind of told me like what to do, what not to do, when to take an airport trip, when not to take an airport trip. All those things matter because if you take an airport trip, let's say at 7:30, and you're dealing with traffic, and you get to the airport lot and there's no planes landing, you're sitting there for 45 minutes while the city is blood red. Like you don't want to do that. So little things, I would educate myself um, on what kind of car. If you're doing economy only, definitely Toyota Prius. Those kind of cars are really great because they last you forever and they're really gas savers.
Yeah.
Um, and then just figure out what your cost. I think my cost is about 25 cents a mile, my Lincoln overall. So that's my cost. But figure out your cost and then set a schedule. Set a schedule like I'm gonna wake up at this time, I'm gonna drive this hours. And if you're doing it part-time, hey, I'm doing 20 hours and this is what I do and just try to make extra money and if it's part-time for you, then it's a great part-time job. It's super flexible.
Yeah.
That's what I would tell them.
Yeah, I'm glad you finished with that because I said this to all the drivers I talked to. Uber, Lyft, any other gig apps are lucky to have drivers like you guys, honestly, because you're the face of these companies, right? And
Yeah,
you've done
yeah,
30,000 trips, right, combined.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
not an easy task, and
No, no,
that potentially you dealt with 30,000 different people, different
yeah, a lot.
personalities, different, right? And I don't think Uber and Lyft give drivers enough credit for doing what you guys do. So
No.
I truly appreciate your time. And then we'll see you soon. I know I keep in touch with you. We're going to keep in touch, but let's catch up again soon, okay?
All right, Sergio. Thank you, Sergio.
All right, take care.